נתחיל מהלל למנג'ושרי עמוד 4. Praise homage to Guru Protector Manjushri in Hebrew. אשתחווה לך, הלמה המגן מנג'ושרי, תמונתך טהורה וצלולה כשמש, חפה מענני שני המערפלים, מבינה נכוחה את כל המושאים כפי שהם, על כן אוחז אתה דרך כתבים. את אלו השרויים בחיל הקיום, קטעי חושים באפלת הבערות, בייסורי הסבל, את כל קובץ הנודדים הללו, אוהב עמך, כאילו היו ילדך היחיד. דיבורך ערב בעל 60 היבטים, וכשאגה דרקון, מאיר משנת העמדות והרגשות האוכלים. מתיר את שלשלאות הברזל של הקרמה, אוחז בחרב, כורת את כל נבטי הסבל באשר הם, מבאר את חשכת הבערות. טוב הראשוני, הגעת עד קצה 10 האדמות, גוף מושלם של מעלות, בין הכובש הראשון במעלה, גופך מקושט ב112 העיטורים, אשתחווה לך מנג'ושרי המפיק את חשכת מודעותי. ומרה והצלמה אנא, העלק לי את מאור התמונה המותחת בעצמה, המבינה נכוחה את מסורת הכתבים, השיעורים והמעשות. מקלט, refuge, take in Hebrew. עמוד, page 6, עמוד 6. נמו בודיה, נמו בודיה, נמו דמיה, נמו דמיה, נמו בודיה, נמו בודיה, נמו דמיה, נמו סנגיה, נמו בודיה, נמו בודיה, נמו דמיה, נמו סנגיה. בבודה, בדהרמה ובקהילה העילאית, אבקש מקלט עד להיפרד. באמצעות המצבורים שיצרתי על ידי הקשבה לדהרמה, לא אשיג מודעיות כדי להועיל ליצורים הנודדים. בבודה, בדהרמה ובקהילה העילאית, אבקש מקלט עד להיפרד. באמצעות המצבורים שיצרתי על ידי הקשבה לדהרמה, לא אשיג מודעיות כדי להועיל ליצורים הנודדים. בבודה, בדהרמה ובקהילה העילאית, אבקש מקלט עד להיפרד. באמצעות המצבורים שיצרתי על ידי הקשבה לדהרמה, לא אשיג מודעיות כדי להועיל ליצורים הנודדים. The Four Immeasurable Thoughts בעברית, page 7. לו יזכו כל בעלי התודעה באושר ובגורמי האושר. לו ייפרדו כל בעלי התודעה מסבל ובגורמי הסבל. לו לעולם לא ייפרדו כל בעלי התודעה מאושר נטול כאב. לו יפתחו כל בעלי התודעה את מידת ההשתתפות ולא משוא הפנים של התקשרות ושל סלידה.
사시 그시 주킹에도가 미마김치니베다리 방예신도이태우와이 도군남자김라
So, good morning, everybody. So, today you are going to receive the teaching on parting from the four attachments. So, generally speaking, the Lord Buddha Shakyamuni has turned the wheel of Dharma in order to suit the different mentalities of the followers. So, Buddha Shakyamuni in reality has attained Buddhahood long time before he appeared in this world as Prince Siddhartha. But for the eyes of common people, in order to lead the sentient beings, he appeared in this world as Prince Siddhartha. And when he was prince, he has all the good conditions, mundane conditions. But then he realized that there's no point in having all these good conditions. So he renounced the kingdom, he renounced the palace, and he cut his hair and he looked for the path, then he practiced. And for the eyes of common people, he subdued the four maras and then attained the Buddhahood in Bodh Gaya. This is the place where all the Buddhas of the three times will attain Buddhahood for the eyes of common people. And then he said, now he has got a nectar-like Dharma, but no one can understand the profound meaning. So therefore he didn't bestow the teachings right after attaining the Buddhahood. So according to the lunar calendar, on the 15th of the 4th lunar month, or the Vesak month, he attained Buddhahood, and then for 7 weeks he didn't turn the wheel of Dharma because he didn't see the worthy disciples who can take these precious and profound teachings. So therefore he didn't teach right after attaining Buddhahood. But then in the meantime, the gods and others, they supplicate to Buddha to attend the wheel of Dharma. And then also he saw there are some more disciples later. So then after 7 weeks, on the 4th day of the 6th lunar month, which is known as Dharma Chakra Day, on that day in Deer Park, Varanasi, he turned the wheel of Dharma for the first time to 5 fortunate disciples, which is based on 4 noble truths. So Buddha said we should know the truth of suffering, we should abandon the truth of origin, we should adopt the truth of path, and we should attain the truth of cessation. So through this way, Buddha gave the teachings on the 4 noble truths. Then from that time onwards, Buddha has turned the wheel of Dharma many times in order to suit the different mentalities or the different mental disposition of the followers. And Buddha's teaching has been spread to many different countries, and also it came to the land of snow and spread the Dharma there. So first, and Buddha's teaching was spread in the land of snow in like 6th, 7th century, and then it has been passed down until now. So in our tradition, our tradition is known as Sakya tradition, and in the Sakya tradition, we say that our Sakya school has been established in 1073 AD. So first it was established by Konkuncho Gyalpo, and then later there were 5 founding masters of the Sakya tradition who has flourished the Sakya school. So the main master in the 5 founding master is known as the Sachen Gunga Ningpo, and when he was young, his holy father Konkuncho Gyalpo entered into Maarpa Nirvana. Konkuncho Gyalpo is the one who established the Sakya tradition, Sakya school. Actually, how the name Sakya came is that there's a place where there's a white patch on the mountain, on the front side of the mountain, there's a white patch. And because of this white patch on the front side of the mountain, this place is called Sakya. And that place itself is the place where Sakya school was established for the first time. So then the school is also named after this place. So there's a place called Sakya, and also there's a school called Sakya. And this Sakya school has been established by Konkuncho Gyalpo in 1073, and then his son, Sachen Gunga Ningpo, and others have flourished the Sakya school. Sachen Gunga Ningpo, in reality, is the manifestation of our Lokiteshvara as well as the manifestation of Arya Manjushri. So he is the embodiment of all the Buddha's compassion and all the Buddha's wisdom. But for the eyes of common people, he acts as an ordinary human being. His action is same as ordinary human being. So for that purpose, when he was young, his father entered the Maarpa Nirvana, and then at that time his teacher is known as Padulazawa in Chantrava, and Padulazawa advised him to study. At that time, I think he was 12 years old, And Padulotava asked him to study and also advised him to study, you need wisdom. And to gain wisdom, you need to practice Manjushri. Generally speaking, wisdom is very important. Without wisdom, you can't move forward. You will not understand what is to be adopted and what is to be abandoned. So therefore, first, the wisdom is very important to gain in order to gain knowledge. Wisdom is effective and meaningful not only to gain knowledge in this life, but also to gain higher rebirth. You need the knowledge, because to gain higher rebirth, you need to abandon the negative actions and you need to adopt the virtuous actions. And to do this, first you need to know what are the negative actions and what are the virtuous actions. And to know this, you need wisdom to know. So therefore, to gain higher rebirth, you need to have wisdom, and also to gain liberation from the whole samsara, you need this wisdom, because to gain liberation from the samsara means you need to be free from the whole sufferings of the samsara. And to be free from the suffering of samsara, you need to dig out, you need to eradicate the root of the suffering. You just can't remove the sufferings directly without removing the cause and conditions of the sufferings. So if we analyze what are the causes of the sufferings, then we will realize the root of all these sufferings are ignorant or the selfish thought. Because the sufferings of the samsara are caused by negative actions, and these negative actions are caused by defilements such as anger, attachment, jealousy, pride, etc. And all these defilements, including the ignorance, are caused, or the root of all this is ignorance itself. So this ignorance is selfish thought. And to dispel this selfish thought, which is the cause or the root of all the suffering of the samsara, so to dispel this, we need to adopt the antidote of this selfish thought. And through logical reasons, we can discover the antidote of this selfish thought is to realize the selflessness. And to realize the selflessness, we need to gain wisdom. Because wisdom and selfish thought are the two opposite thoughts. Selfish thought means wish to cling, or it's a clinging thought that clings the self as a true existence. And wisdom means wisdom realizes this selflessness, which is opposite of self. So this wisdom becomes very important in order to gain liberation, because if we gain wisdom that realizes the true nature of the phenomena directly, then this wisdom can dispel the ignorance, and without ignorance you can't have defilements, and without that you can't have negative actions, and without that you can't have the sufferings of the samsara. So through this you can be free, or you can be liberated from the whole samsara. So here when I say wisdom, that realizes the true nature of the phenomena, which means not just realizing the selflessness intellectually. It is more than that. Intellectual understanding of the selflessness is a first step to gain this wisdom, but it's not the same. First, we need to gain intellectual understanding of the selflessness, and then step by step, finally, or after a while, we can gain the wisdom that realizes the true nature of the phenomena. So this wisdom becomes very important. Without this, we can't be free from the suffering of the samsara. So wisdom is important to gain higher rebirth and to gain liberation from whole samsara. And also, wisdom is most important to gain or attain Buddhahood for the sake of all the sentient beings. So normally we say there are three types of person. One who just wish to gain higher rebirth, small person. Then the mediocre person means just to gain liberation from the whole samsara. And superior person who wish to attain Buddhahood for the sake of all the sentient beings. So for all these three types of persons, wisdom is very important. Without this wisdom, all these three persons cannot gain their own goals, their own they will not reach their own destination. So therefore, wisdom is very important. And out of these three, the small person path is not a Buddhist path, because as a Buddhist, we don't just focus on gaining higher rebirth alone. That is not our goal. We have temporal goal and ultimate goal. The temporal goal is to gain liberation from the whole samsara. And the ultimate goal is to gain or attain Buddhahood for the sake of all the sentient beings without any exception. So, in short, it means the wisdom is very important. So, Parilotawa Rinchen Thapa, when he gave advice to Satsang Kumbhanyambo, he also told, to gain knowledge, you need wisdom, and to gain wisdom, you need to practice Aya Manjushri, because the Manjushri is wisdom deity, is the embodiment of all the Buddha's wisdom. So then, according to his master's advice, Satsang Kumbhanyambo, when he was 12 years old, he practiced the Manjushri deity for 6 months. And then one day, in his pure vision, in the midst of light rays, he saw a precious jewel throne. And on that, he saw Arya Manjushri with the preaching mudra. And he was accompanied by 2 bodhisattvas as his Manjushri's retinue. So he saw these 3 in real, not just an imagination, but in real. He saw all these 3. On middle, there's a Arya Manjushri surrounded by 2 other bodhisattvas. And then the great Arya Manjushri told, or great Arya Manjushri gave the repeat instruction on departing from the 4 attachments. This repeat instruction is known as the essence of all the Mahayana teaching, because to practice Mahayana teaching, ideally speaking, we need to remove all these 4 kinds of attachments. If we practice the Mahayana path or Mahayana teachings with the attachments, then it won't become a proper practice of Mahayana. It just becomes ordinary practice. It won't become a Mahayana practice or Mahayana Buddhist practice. So therefore, first it is very, very important to know and to have these parting from four attachment in our daily action. So starting from the four attachments becomes very important. If we practice with attachment to this life, with attachment to the samsara, then we won't gain liberation. If we cannot gain liberation, then there's no need to mention that we cannot gain attainment or the Buddhahood. In the teaching, it clearly says that the Buddha Dharma is very precious and profound, and this very precious and profound Buddha Dharma is not meant for this life alone. It's not meant to gain higher rebirth alone. This life means it is not meant to gain just fame or wealth or power in this life. We cannot use this precious and profound Buddha Dharma as a method to gain this life's fame or power or wealth, etc. And it is not just a method to recover from this present life's sickness, or it is not just a method to solve the problems of this life alone. So Buddha Dharma is more than this. Actually, Buddha Dharma is a method, but it's not a method for this life alone. And it's not a method just to gain higher rebirth in the next life. So Buddha Dharma is very precious and profound. Generally speaking, the word Dharma in Sanskrit has many different meanings. It can mean phenomenon, it can mean path, it can mean object, it can mean nirvana, it can mean life, or it can mean merit, etc. But here, when we say Buddha Dharma, it means the holy Dharma, the sacred Dharma, one that is intangible gem. So this Buddha Dharma is very important. Actually, what is the meaning of Buddha Dharma? Buddha Dharma is a method. Buddha Dharma is a method that can correct our attitude, that can correct our mind, that can transform our mind into wisdom. It's a method that can dispel the root of the suffering or the selfish thought. It's a method that can attain us the Buddhahood. So Buddha Dharma is very profound. It can transform. Actually, our mind is pure from the very beginningless time. It never stains with the obscurations or the defilements. It is pure from the beginningless time. So this mind is pure, and this mind is known as the non-duality of clarity and emptiness. This mind, in the relative, there's a clarity part, or the awareness part, or the vivid part. And if we analyze this clarity part, then we can't find the actual nature of this mind. So it means the actual nature of this clarity is emptiness. Emptiness means not just an empty. Emptiness means the true nature of all the phenomena, which is beyond all the extremes. The actual state of the ultimate is a state that is beyond words and beyond thoughts. It is a state that is inconceivable, inexpressible. So, therefore, it is very important for all of us to know the mental state. Every being possesses mind, and all these minds are non-duality of clarity and emptiness. And because of this non-duality of the mind, we can say that everybody has the potential to attain Buddhahood because of this non-duality of the mind. So if we can put effort, if we need the right method or right path, then there's no reason why we cannot attain Buddhahood. Of course, we can attain Buddhahood. Everybody has the potential. Everybody has the power to gain Buddhahood. If ourselves can put effort, and if ourselves can stay on the right path, can meet the right path and can stay on the right path, then of course we can attain Buddhahood for the sake of all the sentient beings. So, because we all have the potential to gain Buddhahood, because of this, we can also attain Buddhahood. And for that purpose, we are practicing Buddha Dharma. We are practicing Buddha Dharma not for this life, not for next life, but temporarily to gain liberation from whole samsara, and ultimately to attain Buddhahood. We can attain Buddhahood. We have the power to attain Buddhahood. So we should have this kind of goal. We should have the biggest goal, which is to attain Buddhahood for the sake of all the sentient beings. There's no harm. Instead, there's a great benefit to have this great goal. If we have this great goal to achieve, then we should follow that path to gain or attain Buddhahood for the sake of all the sentient beings without any exception. And to gain or to attain Buddhahood, we are practicing Buddha Dharma. Buddha Dharma is very profound. So the temporal goal is to gain liberation, and the ultimate goal is to attain Buddhahood. And because of this, first we need to develop the right motivation. Motivation is very important. We can't use precious and profound Dharma to gain just fame in this life. It is not right to use such a great method, such precious and profound method, just for our present life. So it is important first to have a great goal, or we should set a great goal, or we should have a right motivation or right intention to practice Buddha Dharma. right intention or right motivation means first we need to gain, or we need to have the thought renunciation. Thought renunciation is very important. Thought renunciation is something that can play a very key role. It's a fundamental practice for all the Buddhist followers. Without this thought renunciation, one cannot become a Buddhist. We cannot claim as a real Buddhist. So this thought renunciation is very important. For example, if you wish to go to another place, first we need to leave this place. While we are here, while we are still wish to stay in this place, we cannot go to our next destination. To reach to the next destination, first we need to leave this place. While we have strong attachment to stay here in this particular place, while we have this strong attachment, with this attachment, we don't want to leave this place because we love this place so much. So when we have this strong attachment to this place, then it is possible to go to the next destination with our own will, with our own wish. Someone can force you to leave, but with our own wish, while we have strong attachment to this place, we cannot go to the next destination. So similarly, while we have a strong attachment to this samsara, we cannot leave this samsara. We cannot gain liberation from the whole samsara. Gaining liberation and wish to stay in this samsara is two different. Just like wish to stay in this place and wish to go to the next destination is two opposite thoughts, two different thoughts. So similarly, when we have strong attachment to this world or this samsara, then it means we don't want to leave this world. We don't want to be separated from this samsara or this world. So when we don't have wish to be separated from this samsara, then we won't put effort to leave this samsara. We don't put effort to liberate from this samsara because we love this samsara, we love this world. So when we have this attachment to this samsara, then we won't leave this. We won't put effort to gain liberation, which is to leave this and go to the next destination, which is the liberation from the samsara. So therefore, as a Buddhist, our wish is to gain liberation. And to gain liberation, we must have thought renunciation. We must leave this samsara. So thought renunciation becomes very important. Without this thought, we won't have we won't have detachment to the samsara. So this becomes very important. And to develop this thought of renunciation, first we need to know the nature of the samsara, the nature of this world. For instance, in this world, there are many different countries, many different places. Some are developed, some are not developed. But wherever we go, we will not find a single place where there's no suffering. Wherever we go, we will not find a single person who has never experienced any sufferings. So it means the whole world is in the nature of suffering. Similarly, the whole samsara is in the nature of suffering. So unless and until we are caught in this samsara, we won't be free from the suffering. So in order to be free from the suffering, we need to be free from this samsara. And to be free from this samsara, we need to have the thought or the wish to gain liberation from the whole samsara. So this thought of liberation becomes very important. In short, without this, we cannot become a real Buddhist. So this thought is very important. And then, based on this thought, then we need to develop other positive thoughts. I say this thought of renunciation is very important. Without this, we cannot become a Buddhist, because to become a Buddhist, we need to take refuge vow. And to take refuge vow, we need this thought of renunciation. Without this thought of renunciation, we cannot gain or receive proper refuge vow. Although we can gain refuge vow, but not a proper one. So to become a Buddhist, we need to receive proper refuge vow. And to receive a proper refuge vow, we need to gain, or we need to have the thought of renunciation towards whole samsara. So then, based on this thought of renunciation, then we need to practice infinite loving kindness and infinite compassion. Loving kindness means wish to gain happiness for every sentient being. Here, happiness means temporal happiness and ultimate happiness. Temporal happiness means happiness in this life, happiness in next life, and happiness of gaining liberation from the whole samsara. These are the temporal happiness. Then the ultimate happiness means Buddhahood. Buddhahood is a state where one can gain the ultimate happiness. So we wish every sentient being to gain temporal and ultimate happiness, and also we wish every being to engage in the course of this temporal and ultimate happiness, which is to perform the virtuous deeds, which is to perform Dharma practice. And then compassion, which means wish to be free from the sufferings and the cause of sufferings. So it means we wish every sentient being to be free from the sufferings and to be free from the cause of sufferings, which are none other than the negative actions. So these thoughts like loving kindness and compassion are very important. So it is not that difficult to understand or to have the intellectual understanding of the loving kindness and compassion, but it is not that easy to practice, to implement, or to apply these teachings into our daily life. At the moment, first, we don't have real quality of loving kindness and compassion in our mind. Our compassion, our loving kindness varies according to the situation, according to the different situation. For example, nowadays, in the newspapers, if we see someone is killed, then we don't pay too much attention because we see these things all the time in the newspaper. But then if we see a people is killing another one in TV, then we will have more sympathy to the victim. We will have more compassion towards that victim. And if we see, not through TV, but through our own eyes, in front of us, if someone is killed, then we will have greater compassion to this victim. So although killing is same, whether we heard through newspaper or we see through TV or we see through our own eyes, it's same killing, same non-virtues. We should have compassion towards all these victims equally, but we don't have the sympathy or compassion towards these three different victims equally. We differ our standard of compassion. So our nature of compassion is different. We have more compassion if you see a people is killed in front of us, although we don't know this person who was killed, but because he was killed in front of our own eyes, then we will have more compassion, more greater compassion. So it means our compassion is not equal to everybody at the moment. Our nature of compassion is not the same when we hear or when we know someone is killed through newspaper or through TV or by our own eyes. So first we need to have a good standard of our compassion. And then also it's very important to have this compassion towards every sentient being equally, without discrimination, without exception. And that is very important. At the moment, we don't have compassion towards every sentient being. Our compassion is limited. And limited compassion and loving kindness is not something that we need to practice. Actually, every sentient being, even the animals, do have loving kindness and compassion to a certain degree. They do have loving kindness and compassion to their own dear ones. They also have their own dear ones. They also have their mother, their children, etc. They also have their dear ones where or to whom they can extend their loving kindness and compassion. So when we say loving kindness and compassion are important, we don't mean that we should have limited loving kindness and compassion. What we need to practice is limitless loving kindness and compassion. Limitless means, why it is called limitless is that our object of loving kindness and compassion is not limited sentient beings. Our object should be limitless sentient beings. Because our loving kindness and compassion's object is limitless, that's why our positive thought or the subject is also known as limitless compassion or limitless loving kindness. So therefore, first it is very important to know what kind of loving kindness and compassion we need to practice and to how many people or to how many beings. So the answer is we should have the greatest level of loving kindness and compassion, just like or more than to the victim that we see by our own eyes. And we should have this towards every sentient being without any exception. Mentally, we can think of all the sentient beings we can extend, because mentally there's no barrier. There's no barriers of land, there's no barrier of culture, no barrier of tradition, etc. No barrier of language also. So mentally, we can extend our loving kindness and compassion towards each and every sentient beings. We just think that we are developing this loving kindness and compassion towards all the sentient beings without any exception, without any discrimination. So then, based on these two thoughts, or based on these 3, total renunciation, then loving kindness and compassion, then we need to practice bodhicitta. Actually, the sign of perfecting the practice of loving kindness and compassion is that if we can have loving kindness and compassion towards every sentient being at any time, at anywhere, then it means we have thoroughly practiced of loving kindness and compassion. So until that happens, until we have that kind of sign, we should put effort, we should put lots of effort to grow our loving kindness, to extend our loving kindness and compassion. Because these positive thoughts are something that it won't come in our mind naturally. We need to make these positive thoughts in our mind. Because from the beginning of time, our mind has been associating with the defilements, or our mind is under the control of defilements. So therefore, it won't come naturally. The positive thoughts won't come naturally in our mind. We need to challenge, we need to put effort to be free from the control of our negative thoughts. Without putting effort, we cannot take control back from the negative thoughts. Negative thoughts will control our mind if we don't put effort to overcome these negative thoughts. So therefore, it's important to put lots of effort through different ways in order to overcome the negative thoughts, in order to develop and in order to improve our positive thoughts. So we must put lots of effort, or we need to make this, and gradually then we become more familiarized with the positive thoughts, and then later we can practice loving kindness and compassion without any effort. It will come naturally. Once we are accustomed, or once we are getting used to these practices, then it will come naturally in our mind without putting any effort. So until that happens, until we have such sign, we should put effort. And anyway, based on these thoughts, we need to develop bodhicitta, or enlightenment mind. Enlightenment mind has two main categories. One is known as wishing bodhicitta, relative bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta. And here mainly we need to focus on relative bodhicitta, and within the relative bodhicitta there are two types of bodhicitta, which are known as the wishing bodhicitta and the engaging bodhicitta. Wishing bodhicitta means, generally speaking, the space has no limits. Similarly, sentient being also has no limits. So for the sake of limitless sentient beings, we wish to gain Buddhahood. Why we have to gain Buddhahood for the sake of all the sentient beings is that we all have same wish, like ourselves wish to gain happiness and remove suffering. Similarly, every sentient being also has the same wish to gain happiness and to remove suffering. So in order to achieve this common goal, we need to put effort. We can't just ignore others' welfare and well-being and just focus or emphasize on our own welfare alone. It is not right. So therefore, we need to focus, we need to emphasize on others' welfare and well-being. And this is one of the reasons. And second reason, or another reason, is that it is said in the teaching, all the happiness that we experience is caused by wishing others to be happy. All the suffering that we experience are caused by wishing oneself alone to be happy. So therefore, it is far greater to help others than oneself alone. When we say help others, means help infinite beings, limitless sentient beings. For example, if two persons is helping others, one is helping 100% and another one is helping billions and billions of people, then obviously the one who helps billions of people is far greater, far superior than one who just helps hundreds of beings. So there's great differences between helping oneself alone and limitless sentient beings. Oneself alone means one person, and helping others means infinite person. So it is far greater, it is far better to help limitless sentient beings rather than helping oneself alone. So therefore, it is very important to help others, and the best way to help others is to first to gain Buddhahood, because at present we don't have the power, we don't have the ability to help limitless sentient beings. For example, if oneself don't know how to swim, then if someone throw oneself into the ocean, then one cannot survive. One will sink in the ocean. So when one is sinking, at the same time, how can oneself rescue fellow sentient beings who are also sinking in the ocean? If one cannot survive oneself alone, then how can one rescue others? First, one need to survive oneself, then can rescue others. If we cannot rescue ourselves, then we cannot rescue others. It is impossible. So similarly, at present, we ourselves is sinking in the ocean of samsara. We ourselves is caught by negative actions and negative thoughts like defilements. So due to this, we are sinking in the ocean of samsara. We are still remaining in the ocean of samsara. So while we are sinking in this ocean of samsara, how can we liberate, or how can we rescue fellow sentient beings who are also sinking in the ocean of samsara? Although we can help in little ways, but not in great ways. So the best way to help the sentient being is to gain Buddhahood, because the Buddha has the full power to lead the sentient being. From the Buddha's body, if he issues one light rays, that can also liberate many sentient beings. And just giving up one verse of teaching can liberate many sentient beings. So Buddha has the full power to help the sentient beings. So in order to help the sentient beings, we also need to gain Buddhahood. So reaching Buddhicitta means for the sake of all the sentient beings, we wish to attain Buddhahood. And this Buddhahood is like ultimate result. And to achieve this ultimate result, we need to practice. We need to have the cause and condition to gain or attain Buddhahood. Without cause and condition, we cannot gain. With the wrong cause and condition, we cannot gain Buddhahood. With the incomplete cause and condition, we cannot gain Buddhahood. To gain Buddhahood, we need the complete cause and conditions. So the complete cause and conditions here means the Buddhist path, which is the complete cause and condition to attain Buddhahood. So it is important to develop this vision bodhicitta, which means for the sake of all the sentient beings, we wish to attain Buddhahood. And for that purpose, you need to develop engaging bodhicitta, which means in order to attain Buddhahood, we need to engage in Dharma practice, which is the complete cause and condition to attain Buddhahood. So these two bodhicitta, or these two enlightenment thoughts, are important to develop in the beginning of our practice. So, in short, right motivation means to develop thought of renunciation towards all samsara, and the infinite loving kindness, infinite compassion, and then the wishing and engaging bodhicitta. If you practice or if you receive teachings with this motivation, then our practice will become more powerful. Our practice can be a real cause to attain Buddhahood. Our practice can be the right remedy or right antidote to remove and dispel the sufferings of the samsara or its cause, which is negative thought and defilements. So this motivation is very important. For example, if there are two persons who is doing prostration to Buddha Shakyamuni's statue, both are doing same number of prostration, like 100 times each. One is doing with the right motivation, as I mentioned earlier, and another one is doing same number of prostration, but without the right motivation. Another one is doing 100 prostration and seeing this prostration as an exercise to make fit or to exercise with a wish to lose weight or etc. With thinking of exercise, if we do prostration, then it is a mundane intention. So although both person has done equal number of prostration, but due to the differences in their motivation, the one with the right motivation will earn much greater merit than the other one. So therefore, motivation is very important. Although we practice, if we don't have motivation, right motivation, then our practice is not completely waste, but our practice will not earn great merit. So while we are putting effort, it is also equally important to correct our motivation, to have the right motivation. Then it becomes more powerful, more meaningful, more useful, more beneficial. And then we also should have a right attitude to receive teachings. A right attitude means physically we should sit in a respectful form, and verbally we should be in a complete silence, and mentally we should have sincere faith and sincere devotion in the teaching. I think each teaching sessions we should have question answer, or no?
On the end of the day.
Okay.
But if you like, you can give time for questions.
After the
Whenever, at the end of the teaching, if you like, you can give
end
time.
of the day.
End of the day we'll have a session, but if you like, by the end of each teaching, you can give time for questions.
How long?
Up to you. It's 10 minutes.
Okay. Okay. So when we receive the teachings, it is also important to know what are the three folds of the containers? Three folds of the containers means first the container or the pot is put upside down. So if the container is put upside down, then no matter how much food or drinks that you pour, it won't enter into the pot because the pot is upside down. So similarly, when you receive a teaching, although your physical body is in the teaching hall, but your mind is not paying attention to the teaching. If your mind is distracted towards other objects, then no matter how much sound of teaching that you hear, it will not go into your mind. You will not understand the meaning of the Dharma teaching because your mind is not in the teaching. Your mind is not focusing on the teaching. Your mind is distracted. Your mind is thinking something else. So this is like putting the pot upside down. The food or drinks will not enter into the pot. Then the second fault is if the pot or the container has a hole underneath, then no matter how good food or drinks that you pour into it, although it will enter, but it won't remain. It will leak from the bottom, which has a hole at the bottom. It will leak from that. So similarly, when you receive a teaching, it is important not just to focus on the present teaching, but also it is important to have mindfulness and also conscientiousness or vigilance. Without these, then it won't remain. Actually, it is said we cannot remember everything that has been taught during the teaching session. So, for example, in the middle of the teaching session, if you forget the beginning part of the teaching, and the conclusion part of the teaching, if you forgot the middle part of the teaching, then it means we don't have the mindfulness, we don't have vigilance or conscientiousness. It's like having a hole at the bottom of the container. It won't remain. It will leak just like this. If we don't have mindfulness and vigilance, then we cannot remember, we cannot keep the meaning of the teaching in our mind. We will forget, just like there's a leakage from the container that has a hole. And the third fault of container means although the pot is not upside down, the pot has no hole. But if there's a stains, if there's a dirt, or if there's some dirty things inside this pot, then no matter how good food or how good drinks that you pour into it, although it will remain, but after you pour into this pot, it won't be eatable and drinkable because it has been mixed with the dirty things. So no one will take this food or no one will drink from that pot because it has been mixed with the dirty things. So similarly, if our mind is focusing on the teaching and we do have mindfulness, etc., but at the same time, we have stains on our minds, just like dirty things, which means if we have a pride, thinking that I am better than the teacher, I know better than the teacher, if we have such a pride, then that is a stain number one. Then the second stand, actually there are 6 kinds of stands. Then the second stand is not having a faith in the teacher. Just come to listen to the teaching without faith, just out of curiosity or just out of bad intention to disregard the teacher or to criticize teachers' way of teaching, etc. So out of this kind of intention, if someone came to listen to the teaching, then it is not right. So the second fault, or the second stand is not having a faith. And the third one is not having the interest. Our main interest, or the main interest is not to listen to the teaching. Main interest is to do something else in the teaching session. With such intention, if one comes to listen to the teaching, then it is not right. Then the fourth one is distraction. If our mind is not focusing, if our mind is focusing on something else, then it is not right. And fifth one is thinking mind. Thinking mind means when you feel very sleepy, or when your mind is not fresh, when your mind is very dull, then you can't put effort, you can't focus, you can't pay attention to the teaching because your mind is not fresh enough to focus or to pay attention to the teaching. And the sixth one is feeling bored of teaching, which means feeling bored of not understanding the teaching. And second board is if the teaching sessions are too long, and because of that, some can feel bored or not happy. So for that, we should think that if we don't understand, then that itself is the reason why we have to listen to the teaching. And if someone is bored because the teaching sessions are too long, then we should think that in the past, even to listen or to receive one verse of teaching, one stanza of teaching, how much effort I put to receive just one verse of teaching, then why not we can bear long sessions? So I think in this way we can overcome these faults, or the sixth fault. So once you receive the teaching without these 6 different kinds of stains, so without these stains, then one can receive proper teaching, proper Dharma teaching. So in the beginning, it is very important to develop the right motivation and to have a right attitude, and also to know what is the right way of receiving the teaching. So if you know these and if you practice these, then whatever we receive, it will have a strong impact. It will have a great benefits, or it will have great effects in our daily life. So I think with this, the first session I will complete, or I will conclude here by, in the first session I just covered a little bit history of this teaching, and then the motivation and attitude and how we need to receive the teaching. So if there's a questions, I will try to answer for 10 minutes.
You said at the beginning, try not to practice with attachment. How can you do that? You have an advice that it's not right to practice with attachment.
I think this subject I will explain later. This is in the main subject, main teaching.
You mentioned at the beginning the 5 main masters who founded the tradition. Is it the right time to say a few words about them?
Sure. Actually, this kind of lineage holds 3 special names. First, they are celestial beings race. They came from celestial realms. So, long time ago, 3 celestial beings descend in Tibet. Descends on the land in Tibet. Then there's from this. Then there's a lineage for a few generations of this lineage, celestial beings lineage, and then they've got the second name, which is called Stainless Queen. First is celestial being, and then the second is Queen lineage, which means Queen means kind of subdue or not friendly but subdue. It means outwardly subduing the Rakshas and inwardly subduing the ignorance. So through this they got the second name, the Queen. And then third one is Sakya. So after receiving the second name, for many generations, they are followers of the Nyingma school. One of the Queen family members received teachings directly from Guru Padmasambhava in Tibet. And one of the members is also one of the first 7 monks of the Tibet. The great Indian abbot Shantarakshita and gave a monk's vow to first to 7 Tibetans to see, to try whether Tibetans can hold the monk's vows or not. As a trial, first Shantarakshita gave monk's vows to 7 Tibetans, and one of the members is also one of the first 7 Tibetans to receive the monk's vows. So anyway, this second lineage for about 10 generations after receiving the second name, they are practicing the Nyingma teaching. And then in the 1073, one of the Queen family member called Kunkunju Gyalpo, he established this new tradition, or the Sakya tradition. And then his son, Sasin Kunga Nyingpo, is the main founding master. Then Sasin Kunga Nyingpo flourished the Buddha Dharma. Sasin Kunga Nyingpo practiced and flourished the Buddha Dharma, especially the Sakya tradition. Our main teaching is Lamde teaching, and Lamde teaching has been passed down from great Indian masters. Actually, we say teachings should be authentic teaching, and to become an authentic teaching, we need to have the original source of the teachings. original source of the teaching should come from Buddha. If the teaching is not taught by Buddha, if some of the teaching, some of the meanings of the teaching are not taught by Buddha, then that teaching becomes not authentic. So all the teachings, the source of all the teachings should depend on Buddha's teaching. So Lamde teaching is also passed down from the Buddha. Buddha first to Indian great masters, and then they passed down to Tibetan great masters. And this Lamde lineage, in the Lamde lineage, there are 5 great Indian masters, and then there is Tibetans who passed down this Lamde teaching lineage. So Sachen Gunga Nyingbo has received this Lamde teaching from Master, and also in his pure vision, he saw a great Indian master called Master Virupa, who is the main great master to hold this or to pass down this teaching. So he saw in his pure vision and received the teachings again, etc. So Sachen Gunga Nyingbo is the owner of Lamde teaching and also many other teachings. And then he passed down to his sons. Actually, in the 500 masters, main is Sachen Gunga Nyingbo, and Sachen Gunga Nyingbo has 4 sons. One son passed away in India when he was very young, when he went to study to India, and then in India he passed away when he was 22 years old. So then the second and third son, Slogan and Johnson, they preserved the teaching and they flourished the teaching. And then Logan has also a younger brother. Youngest brother is called Palsin Uyapo. He has 2 sons. One of the sons is known as Sakya Pendita. So Sakya Pendita is also in the 500 master. He is a great master, great pandit. And then Sakya Pendita's nephew, Kunkunji Gyalpo. So these 5, Sachen Gunga Nyingbo, and then his second and third son, then their nephew, Sakya Pendita, and his nephew, Chekyalpa. These 5 are called the 500 masters. And they're the ones who flourished the Sakya teachings far and wide. And then this teaching lineage came down through them up until now. We'll have break now.